I was 26 when my parents told me, straight to my face, that I would never be half the woman my sister Emma was. They said it casually over dinner, like they were commenting on the weather as if their words weren't carving into my chest like broken glass. But that was the night everything changed. Instead of crying, instead of begging them to love me, I pushed my chair back, stood up, and made a silent promise. I will build a life so good. You'll regret ever doubting me. My name is Genesis. I'm 26 now. But this story starts long before that night. I grew up in a house where love was conditional, measured, and always in limited supply. And somehow, no matter what my older sister Emma always received more, Emma was the golden girl, the prized daughter, the blueprint of perfection my parents insisted I follow. If Emma got an A, my B+ was a failure. If Emma joined a club, they asked why I wasn't president of mine. If Emma smiled, they took a picture. If I smiled, they didn't notice. I spent my childhood chasing approval the way some kids chase fireflies, reaching, only for the light to slip through my fingers. Emma wasn't cruel, not intentionally. She was beautiful, talented, and effortlessly charismatic. People adored her instantly. Teachers, neighbors, boys at school, even stray dogs seemed to wag their tails a little harder around her. She was sunshine. I was the shadow behind her. But what no one knew, not even Emma, was how suffocating it felt to live under a constant comparison machine. My parents treated motherhood like a scoreboard, and the only score they cared about was, Emma, 100 Genesis. Try harder, it didn't matter what I did. Top 10 in my class? Emma was top 5. Scholarship? Emma got to scholarships. A promotion at my job? Emma's company is better. They didn't just compare us, they weaponized it, and like most emotional wounds, mine didn't bleed on the outside. I hid them well, until the night I couldn't hide anymore. It was a Sunday evening, my least favorite day, because Sunday meant family dinner. It meant walking into a house filled with framed photos of Emma's achievements, embroidered blankets Emma made, and scented candles Emma gifted them. Sometimes I wondered if there was anything in that house with my fingerprints on it. We were eating chicken pot pie when my mom sighed dramatically and said, Genesis, why can't you be more like Emma? I froze. Here we go again. My dad didn't even look up from his plate when he added casually, you're not half the woman your sister is. Just like that. Thrown like a grenade in my direction, I set my fork down slowly, my heartbeat pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. Dad? I whispered. Why would you say that? He shrugged. It's just the truth. Emma looked uncomfortable. Dad, please don't, but my mom cut her off. Oh honey, we're not insulting Genesis. We're helping her. Maybe if she pushed herself the way you did, she'd actually get somewhere. Something inside me cracked. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet, clean break. I pushed my chair back. The legs scraped across the floor, the only sound in the room. What are you doing? My mom asked. Mid-bite, I stood. Not shakily, not uncertain. For the first time in my life, I felt steady. I'm done, I said. With all of this. My dad scoffed. You're overreacting. But I wasn't. I walked out of that house with no plan. No savings worth mentioning. No support system besides my own trembling spirit. But I walked out free. Leaving felt empowering in the moment. But empowerment fades fast when reality hits. I moved into a tiny studio apartment barely big enough to stretch in, with a drafty window and an ancient heater that wheezed like it was dying. I worked a modest job as a junior graphic designer, living paycheck to paycheck. I cried often. I questioned myself constantly. Had I done the right thing? Was I strong or just stupid? What if my parents were right about me? But every time those doubts creeped in, I remembered my father's words. You're not half the woman your sister is. And that lit a fire in me. Not to prove them wrong. Not yet. First, I needed to prove something to myself, that my worth wasn't tied to their approval. Over the next year, I made 3 serious decisions. 1. I cut off contact with my parents. Not out of spite, out of survival. 2. I started therapy. Unpacking years of emotional manipulation wasn't easy. Sometimes my therapist, Dr. Morgan, would ask a simple question like, how did that make you feel? And I'd burst into tears because I didn't know what feeling was mine and what feeling was taught to me. 3. I built something of my own. One day my boss asked me to design a logo for a local bakery. The owner loved it so much she recommended me to 3 other businesses. That's when I realized I had talent. Not Emma-level talent, my own talent. So I started freelancing small jobs at first, then bigger ones, then corporate contracts. My income doubled, then tripled. I wasn't rich, but I was stable, independent, proud. And then came the ironic twist. Emma reached out. She messaged me asking for coffee. I almost said no, but curiosity won. When we met, Emma didn't look like the golden girl everyone adored. She looked tired. Genesis, she whispered. I'm sorry. I blinked. For what? For everything. For letting them treat you like that. For not standing up for you. For being the favorite. She wasn't crying, but her voice cracked like it wanted to. Then she said something that shocked me. They didn't love me more. They used me. What do you mean? I asked. Emma looked down at her cup. Mom and Dad weren't proud of me. They were proud of what they could show off about me. Everything I did was for their approval. I wasn't their daughter. I was their trophy. I stared at her. You never seemed unhappy. I hid it, she whispered. Every achievement felt like a cage. I envied you, Genesis. You lived your life for yourself. I lived mine for them. It was a strange moment. The sister I'd thought of as my rival was sitting across from me, broken in ways I recognized too well. I reached for her hand. Emma, you didn't hurt me. They did. She nodded slowly. Then let me help you finish what you started. I tilted my head. What do you mean? She smiled gently. Let's show them what real strength looks like. My parents had expected me to fail. Expected me to come crawling back. Expected me to admit they were right. Instead, I flourished. And with Emma on my side, the truth about our upbringing became undeniable. Emma suggested we choose a public moment where our parents' narrative would crumble. The opportunity came sooner than we expected. They invited both of us to a family reunion. Dozens of relatives. Lots of bragging. The perfect stage. I almost didn't go. But Emma squeezed my hand and said, you deserve to be seen. So I went. When we arrived, our parents immediately swarmed Emma, praising her job, her recent promotion, her new apartment. They didn't glance at me, not once, until Emma cleared her throat loudly. Actually, she announced, Genesis has something incredible to share. The room fell silent. My dad frowned. Emma, sweetheart, no, she said firmly. It's her turn. I took a breath, a deep, steady, self-assured breath. I started my own design business, I said. We just landed a long-term corporate contract. Several relatives gasped. My mom blinked like she'd misheard. That's nice, she said stiffly. But Emma cut in sharply. Mom, stop. Genesis achieved this without your money, your connections, or your constant pressure. She built it alone, and you should be proud. The room went dead silent. My dad's face turned red. Genesis is being dramatic. She left the family. No, Emma snapped. You pushed her out, and you've been pretending she's the failure just so you won't feel guilty. My mom looked stunned. Emma, how dare you say how dare you? Emma's voice shook. Genesis is twice the woman either of you ever gave her credit for. The room erupted in murmurs. My parents had two choices, defend themselves, or reflect. For the first time in my life they chose silence. I didn't stay long. I didn't need to. I had already won, not because I was successful. Not because people finally heard my story, but because I no longer needed their validation. That was the real revenge. A few weeks later, my parents reached out, not with apologies, those came much later. They reached out with confusion, shock, curiosity. How did you do it? Why didn't you tell us? Why would you shut us out? I answered simply, because you never asked who I was. You only asked why I wasn't Emma. They apologized slowly, awkwardly, imperfectly. But I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't that girl crying for scraps of approval. I was Genesis, independent, strong, whole. And Emma and I? We rebuilt our relationship not as rivals, but as survivors of the same war. Today, we talk every week. We support each other. We laugh about things that used to hurt, and sometimes, when I'm working late on a project for my growing business, I remember that dinner. The one where my parents said I'd never be half the woman Emma was, and I smile, because they were right. I'm not half the woman Emma is. I'm my own woman, and that's more than enough. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever broken free from someone's expectations? Your story might help someone else feel seen.